back to the WCG for the afternoon session on day one of the third statewide traffic management test match. Brennan's 11, who are looking for a series whitewash, find themselves in a fantastic position at the lunch break. They will resume at no wicket for 54, with their skipper unbeaten on 53. Scott has dominated from the off, thanks in kind to a beautiful batting surface and some ordinary Rabi's 11 bowling, as he pounced on anything too full or too short, as his side chases history to become the first team to complete a series whitewash. They have got off to the best possible start, as another wicketless session for Rabi's 11 has them staring down the barrel. Scott will resume on 53, with his side no wicket for 54 and cruising. Massive afternoon session coming up for both sides. Brennan's 11 will be looking to press home their advantage, while Rabi's 11 are in desperate need of a wicket. The first ball of the afternoon session will be Ryan Schaefer to bowl around the wicket to Brendan Scott. In now to short delivery. And this one hits Scott first up. It's a quick start there from Schaefer after lunch, and Scott is hit. Rabi's 11 with the first moral victory of the session so far. As Schaefer will bowl again to Scott. Again, it's a short delivery, but this time Scott is good enough to sway out of the way of it. Tidy start this from Schaefer after the lunch break. This will come into Scott again around the wicket. This one's a full delivery and it's just whipped off Scott's pads onto the fence. And he'll complete a single to be off and running for the session. The Rabi's 11 will know if they can get Scott in these first moments of the afternoon session, they can start to run straight through the Brennan's 11's lineup, just showing a bit of vulnerability throughout the series. Schaefer again to come around the wicket. This one's a good length delivery and Scott is hurried up and defends on the leg side. This is quick stuff so far from Schaefer after the lunch break. He's been a revelation for Rabi's 11 as he comes in again to Scott, and that's another good length delivery. Scott defends on the offside. Tony Ibrahim to bowl the second over after the lunch break. He comes in around the wicket to Scott, and this one's short of a length, and this one leaps up at Scott. He's played that quite awkwardly as he's jammed up by a good delivery there from Ibrahim. This is good so far from Rabi's 11 after the lunch break, as Ibrahim will bowl again to Scott, and this one's a short delivery and Scott gets a thick inside edge as it trickles to El Basha there on the leg side. Scott took a liking to Ibrahim in that first session. This is a better start this time around, as Ibrahim will bowl again to Scott, but this one's too short and too wide, and again Scott has put him to the boundary. Yeah, that's a poor delivery from Ibrahim, and he pays the price. Ibrahim to continue around the wicket to Scott. In now, this one's a full delivery on his pads, and he's clipped this off his pads for another boundary. It's beaten McGregor in that mid-wicket region. Now it's off the fence and runs away for 4. Scott is off and racing for the session. He's moved along to 62 as Ibrahim will come in around the wicket again. And this one is hit on the up, and it pierces the fieldsman on the offside for 6. Oh, he's taking a liking to Ibrahim again. Brennan's 11, no wicket for 69. So 14 off the Ibrahim over so far, as he'll come in over the wicket to Scott this time, and he's hammered him down the ground for another 6. 20 runs off that Ibrahim over. Brennan's 11, no wicket for 75. Now Todd Lavin, who will come in to bowl around the wicket to Scott. In now it's a full delivery. It's clipped off his toes. That's brilliantly fielded there at mid-wicket by Rabi El Basha. And showing off his football skills once again to prevent a certain boundary. This is starting to get away from Rabi's 11 a little bit after their decent start to the session. As Lavin bowl again now to Scott, and that is a short and wide delivery, and it has been punished to the boundary again. That is an awful delivery from Lavin, and it pays the price. Lavin to come into Scott again, this time over the wicket. In now, and this one drifts down the leg side, and Scott leaves that alone. That's the end of the 14th over of the innings. Brennan's 11, no wicket for 80. Brendan Scott 78 not out, and looking very ominous indeed. That's his high score of the series. Is he on his way to get another 100 at the WCG? He's just 22 runs away now. More importantly, this is looking more and more likely like a whitewash. This is a fantastic start for Brennan's 11. Rabi's 11 simply have no answers at the moment. It's going to be Nathan Hancock to take the ball. He's going to bowl over the wicket here to Scott. Comes in now, it's a full swinging delivery, and Scott has a wild play at it, but it goes off the fence and runs to the boundary. Everything seems to be going his way at the moment. Moves it to the 80s. Nathan Hancock will continue over the wicket to Scott. In now, it's a full swinging delivery, and it's played back down the ground towards Hancock. He fields well off his own bowling, saves a boundary. Brennan's 11, no wicket for 84, and are cruising here on day one. Their skipper approaching 100. As Hancock will bowl again to Scott. This one's a shorter delivery, it's a good delivery, and Scott just plays that on the offside to Michael Johnson. This is a brilliant batting surface. Brennan's 11 are looking on track for a big score here. As Nathan Hancock will bowl again to Scott over the wicket, and this one's a full wide delivery, and Scott has another play at it, and this one goes for 6. Can do no wrong at the moment. Moves to 88. Nathan Hancock to bowl the final ball of his over. In now to Scott, and it's a good length delivery, and Scott plays it on the offside. It's a good way to end the over for the youngster. Ryan Schaefer who will bowl around the wicket now to Scott. And now it's a full delivery, and this one goes on the leg side, and this one goes for 6. Well, it looks like he just jammed down on it, but this has flown off the inside edge of the bat and gone for 6. Incredible. He looks destined here at the moment, Scott. So he'll face Ryan Schaefer again. It's a full delivery. It's driven toward Nathan Hancock, who misfields, and that's another boundary to Scott. He moves to 98. Just too much power there for the youngster. Runners 11 reach 100 without loss. As Ryan Schaefer will bowl around the wicket now to Scott, and this one has just clipped off his pads on the leg side, but it's off the fence, and Rabiel Basher fields for no run. Runners 11 look just about out of sight already, as we're only at the afternoon session on day one. They are in a dominant position as Ryan Schaefer will bowl again to Scott, and this one hits him in the midriff. Yeah, that's good aggressive bowling from Schaefer, who's been their best today by far. It's still not enough to dismiss Scott. He's 98 not out, inside of another 100. The Schaefer bowls again to him now, and that's a good Yorker, and Scott is able to jam the bat down in time, and with that we'll move to 99. Oh, he's nearly snuck that through there, Schaefer. Runners 11, 101 without loss. It'll be Pat McGregor to bowl around the wicket now to Scott. This one's a thick inside edge, and it comes off the fence and it's fielded there by Nathan Hancock. Oh, this one was tight too. Pat nearly slips it through. Scott remains on 99 as McGregor comes into him now around the wicket, and that's a good length delivery, bang on the money, and Scott can only get forward and defend. No one has got Scott out more times at the WCG than McGregor. Anxious Scott will be well aware of that, as McGregor will come in again to Scott, and again he's bang on the money, and again Scott can only get forward and defend on the offside. Pat McGregor's going to make Scott earn this. He'll come in again to Scott around the wicket, and this one's too full, and Scott puts this to the boundary, and there it is. An innings to remember there for Scott, and makes his 3rd Test century at the WCG. The skipper is in a league of his own, and he has put Rabi's 11 to the sword this series. Runners 11, 105 without loss, as McGregor will bowl again around the wicket to Scott. Scott just dabs this on the offside and will move through for a single. Runners 11, 106 without loss. This is just the 17th over of the innings. They're going over 6 and over here. They are in a hurry. McGregor is in around the wicket for the final ball of his over, and that's a good one to finish with. Skipper v skipper. Rabiel Basher will come in over the wicket now to Scott. And now it's a full delivery. Scott backs away and hammers this through the offside. Greets Rabi's 11 skipper with complete disdain. Hammered. Scott is just toying with the Rabi's 11's bowlers at the moment. He's moved to 108. As Rabiel Basher will bowl to him now, he gets a thick outside edge, but this one hits the fence on the offside and will trickle down for no run. The skipper needs just 2 runs to break his own highest score record in a test match on this ground. Here's Basher bowls again to Scott. This one's hit uppishly, and it's hit towards Nathan Hancock in that mid-wicket region, and he puts down a sharp chance. Well, this one was travelling, but you've got to hold on to him. Let off there for Scott on 108. Here is Bash will bowl to him against a full delivery, and Scott just whips this down the ground. And that is the highest individual score at the WCG. And what a way to bring it up. Scott has moved to 112. As Michael Johnson will bowl to him over the wicket. It's a good length delivery outside the off stump, and Scott leaves it alone. Well, Rabi's 11 simply have no answers at the moment. Brendan's 11 no wicket for 114. And they are on track for a massive first innings total. Johnson bowls over the wicket again to Scott, and this one's a full delivery, and Scott is forward and defends. Good start to the over this from Johnson. As he'll bowl again to Scott, and this one's a shorter delivery, and Scott just tucks that on the leg side. And I think that might have deceived Pat off the fence, and Scott gets through for a single. If Rabi's 11 can take any positives from this, it's that it looks like an awesome batting track. That's how they're going to have to bat, you'd feel, if they're to get themselves back into this contest. So with Michael Johnson again to Scott. It's a slower delivery, just rolls the fingers on that one, and Scott just bunts that to the fence on the offside for no run. Johnson just trying something different there to break Scott's concentration. Nothing seems to be working at the moment. Michael Johnson is going to go around the wicket, and he drops short, and Scott backs away and hammers him over point for 6. There is just no stopping Scott at the moment. Brendan's 11, 121 without loss. Michael Johnson to continue around the wicket for the final ball of his over. In now, it's a slower delivery, a good length delivery played on the offside, and Scott runs through for a single. It'll be Todd Lavin to bowl the 20th over of the innings. In now to Scott, it's a wide short delivery. Oh, this one's gone over the fence. It has, they've got him finally. Scott departs for 120. And finally, after a long and hard toil, Rabi's 11 have their man. Brendan's 11 1 for 122. As Mark Pasfield is the next batsman in for Brendan's 11. Struggling for runs this series. He will not get a better opportunity to make a score. With Rabi's 11 on the ropes. So it'll be Todd Lavin with his tail up to bowl to Mark Pasfield for his first delivery. In now, it's a full floated delivery, and it's hit towards Rabi Yabasha on the leg side for no run. Scores of 0, 1, 1 and 0 so far in this series for Pasfield. He's in desperate need of a score here. So we'll face Todd Lavin, who drops this one short. Oh, he's hit it up, and he's hit over the fence, and Pasfield goes again for a low score. Rabi's 11 have gone bang bang. Todd Lavin gets his second wicket. Mark Pasfield fails again at 2. It's going to be young Daniel Hancock who will walk out at 3 for his side. Brendan's 11 still in a fantastic position as we approach tea on the opening day. Can the youngster cash in and make a big score for his side? So it'll be Todd Lavin into Hancock for his first delivery. It's a full toss, and Daniel Hancock slaps this through cover. What a fantastic way to start for the youngster. It's a horrible delivery from Lavin, and he's dispatched. 2 for 126. It will be Tony Ibrahim to bowl the final over before the tea break. It's a full delivery there to young Daniel Hancock, who plays that straight back to Ibrahim for no run. Rabi's 11 would love to take another one in with them to the tea break. As it's Ibrahim to bowl again to Hancock as he tries to whip this on the leg side. And he manages to find Todd Lavin in that mid-wicket region for no run. Just a sniff Rabi's 11 were looking for right before the tea break. They can come out after the break and take a couple of quick wickets. They might be able to restrict Brendan's 11. As Ibrahim bowls again to Hancock, and it's a full toss as Hancock misses out on an opportunity to get another boundary. So 2 deliveries left in another session dominated by Brendan's 11. As Ibrahim's into Daniel Hancock, who advances and has a wild swing, but he doesn't make connection with it. To be fair, it was there to hit, but he lost his shape. So the final ball of the afternoon session on day 1 will be Tony Ibrahim to bowl to Daniel Hancock. It's a full delivery, and Hancock just plays that on the leg side. Brendan's 11 going to the tea break well on top. Well, Brendan's 11 have dominated the opening 2 sessions on day 1, thanks largely to their skipper, who was dismissed just before the tea break for 120. As Brendan's 11 heading to the tea break at 2 for 126. As Brendan's 11 look just about out of sight already, as we head into an important evening session.